Hey, everybody, and welcome to Internet Traffic Kings. I'm the big Fabu, John Fondy, broadcasting from the campus of UNLV right here in Las Vegas. You can see behind me, that's what it looks like here in Las Vegas. There's nothing going on. Probably not a lot going to be going on here for a while. So the purpose for our particular show is to bring on expert guests and give you information that maybe you would answer some questions you might have. And we want to know that our podcast is not ad supported, and you can support us by taking this great information, and you can go to internettraffickings.com, or you can give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcast as well. That's going to help us out, and we'll keep giving you information. Ping us from time to time to let us know information that you would like us to talk about on the show, and we'll try to answer those questions and keep these experts coming in and give you brand new pertinent information, and we'll adjudicate any questions that you might have by bringing on other guests and different topics that we'll have on the show as well. Again, great show we've got. This is our episode 8, and I want to bring on our executive producer, better known as the Click Father for Internet Traffic Kings. I'd like to bring on Kevin DiVincenzi. Kevin, thanks so much for having the show.
Absolutely, John. It's my pleasure. So things are starting to get back to normal, slowly but surely, huh?
Yeah, it's amazing now that I'm seeing that we're seeing things now progressing a little more rapidly, where everybody was just sort of walking on a wire without a net.
Yeah.
Now they're actually being proactive. People are coming up with solutions as opposed to just crawl under your bed and we'll tell you what to do. And so we're seeing that.
Yeah, well, it seems like the stay-at-home orders work, though, right? So it did slow the virus down from what they're reporting. Again, you can't believe half of what the media says, or even less than half. But it looks like it slowed it down, so it did work. And yeah, it's World 2.0, so it's going to be a totally different world.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that they say that invention is the mother of necessity and stuff, and so people are inventing themselves, and that's a lot what we're finding now in our business, Kevin, is a lot of the experts on the show like yourself and Bennett and stuff are not only reinventing themselves, but they're teaching people how to reinvent themselves as well. And you're a consultant as well, Kevin. You just don't walk the walk, you talk the talk, and you're also willing to help people out that are trying to pivot, as we say, and enhance or start their new life, and that's good to have somebody like you out there that's willing to do that.
Thanks, John. Yeah, currently, if somebody's involved in online or digital marketing and needs to pivot, I'm offering my services that are normally $1,000 an hour, absolutely free. So if they've got an existing business, they just need to figure out what to do with it. I'll help them with that. That's my pleasure. That's what I can do to give back. Obviously, not for a startup or an idea, because I do have limited time. But I'll definitely help people in that way. Big Dog, I had a question for you that keeps popping in my mind. What are the court systems like now, and what's going to happen in the near future? Do you see yourself going into a courtroom? Are you going to be doing things by teleconferencing?
So I actually went into a courtroom a couple of weeks ago, and it was empty, just for certain emergency proceedings. But even a lot of emergency proceedings are just by the phone call, and some courts are trying to go to video, but right now they're limiting just to certain types of proceedings, and everything else is getting postponed. And so kind of the tip out of that is, you need to monitor your accounts receivable, because if you have to go after someone for non-payment, courts are going to be really backed up, and it's going to take a long time to get to collect. So monitor your receivables, and 2, look at the venue. Is it in a place where the courts are backed up or not? If some places never closed, so that meant that may not be an issue there.
Yeah, no, I have several properties in my home state of Nevada, rental properties, and even the evictions I may or may not have to do in the near future. I'm thinking it's going to be such a backlog of filing and everything else, unfortunately. I figured there's going to be a big backlog. Same thing with DMV and any of those services, right? Because they're all shut down now. I don't know how they open You know, my car's, you know, a month over registration. I can't register online. And I'm thinking, well, if I get pulled over, there's nothing I can do. They shut down, right? So
Right.
It isn't really, it's not like you can take any action points, you know. Yeah, we'll see what happens for sure. So what happens if, let's say, John gets arrested for his 60 DUI? What does that process look like? Is that still business as
So we
usual?
make a cake and we put the key in the cake. No,
Perfect. You've been watching too much Prison Break, huh?
there actually is a controversy in some places of letting people out without bail just because they don't want to crowd the prisons, and some of those people are committing repeat offenses.
Yep.
So, but there's also a problem because you have a constitutional right to a speedy trial. And so you need to proceed with at least, the initial charging things to hold people.
Right.
And so they're trying to figure out, do that by video if possible.
Hey, Bennett, I know that you're not actually giving us legal advice, but you're just giving us insight and stuff like that. So I guess if you're going to commit a crime, I guess now is probably the time to do it.
I don't recommend that. My dad was a public defender, so that would definitely keep him in business. But he's long since passed, so I would hold off on that for now.
Yeah.
Well, the real question here, Bennett, is now that the schools are closed, can John now go within 1,000 feet of a school? That's the real question. Does it apply if the school's not in session?
Well, I mean, that would have to be adjudicated, but
okay.
That's true. That is so true. Kevin, we've been doing this show for 8 weeks now and stuff.
Yep.
And can you recap us on what you've seen change from when we did show number 1 and where we're at in show number 8 that stands out to you?
No, I think the shows are getting better and better. I mean, the guests have been top notch from the beginning, but just I think the flow, and as more people are watching and listening, it's definitely increasing. So we'll continue doing them as long as we get the listenership and we're providing value. I mean, that's what we're doing. It's not ad supported. We're doing it purely to give back to the community. So that's.
Yeah, really. And it's, give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. That's going to help us a lot to keep going. Yeah. And we have a good time doing this, and we give out good information. And again, reminding you, if you guys hit us up on internettraffickings.com, let us know what you'd like to see, or if there's a special guest that you'd like to have on the show. Kevin will consider these things. But Kevin, you've been awesome in getting guests. Has it been difficult to get guests to come on the show?
No, it's been really easy. I've been doing this for 24 years, John. So I have a pretty big Rolodex of people, and it's really just getting the quality people. Every guest that we've had on, I have a personal relationship with, and I know that they're actually somebody that can provide value on the show and not just come and pitch. So that's good.
Well, good for you. So anyway, now as we kind of move on, the great thing about it is that my job is made easy because we've got great guests, we've got great information, and I just sort of the glue that holds it all together here on the campus at UNLV. And we're going to bring in our first guest. He's from the landingpageguys.com, but he's been all over the place. He's sold businesses. He's excellent at what he does. He's a fun guy to talk with as well. So please, let's give a warm Internet Traffic Kings welcome to Oliver Kenyon. Hey, Oliver, welcome.
Hey guys, thank you for having me. It's it's been nice to watch. Just sit back and watch you guys banter amongst yourselves. I'm now thinking, what crimes can I commit? What can I go out and do?
There you go.
It's good.
We'll give you a list after the show.
I appreciate it.
Well, hey, it's very nice to meet you, and I can't wait to meet you in person one day because that means things are getting a little bit better and stuff like that. So
just remember, John, air hugs. I mean, I'm a hugger, but they have to be air hugs now.
That's right. All that stuff. So anyway, give us a little bit of your background, Oliver, and kind of where you're from. It sounds to me like
absolutely. Sure. So I come from a non-internet background. I was a fully qualified chef, so I trained as a chef over here in the UK. But I kind of stumbled online in my kind of teens around the kind of days of like 8 Mile, when Eminem shot 8 Mile. I always reference back to that film 8 Mile, and it's because in the film they did all these kind of rap battles. And I became like obsessed with like this rap battle stuff. So I used to come online and I found these forums whereby people would do these rap battles. And I was obsessed with kind of these forums, these communities, these battles, where one day I thought to myself, do you know what? I'm going to start my own forum. But I didn't have any knowledge of how to do it, as none of us probably do when we first get started. But I did the whole pitching thing. Like before pitching was a thing, before we had like Dragon's Den, before we had Shark Tank over in the States, I sat in front of my father and my grandfather and I said, guys, I need 150 quid, so like $200 to build my first forum online. In return, I'll give you 40% of my business. And luckily we did the deal. And my dad still rings me like weekly and asks for 40% of his commission, like 15 years on. But you're not getting that anymore, Dad. But it kind of
you might be able to get out of that, Bennett.
Yeah. Bennett, I might need your services after this. If you can,
either that or you get sued by Shark Tank as well.
if you can adjudicate here in the UK, I might need your services. But yeah,
you only get one shot.
Nice, I like that as well.
That's nice.
So yeah, I was on these rap battle forums and I met someone basically who started making money online through one of these forums, and he was making money through CPA marketing. And that's obviously where me and kind of Kevin knew each other from. I fell into the CPA space, so cost per action marketing, back in the day where it was like easy to grow Facebook pages. You could just get huge organic reach on any post you put out. These kind of old fashioned like incentivized gateways. Back in the day with like where all the scripts existed, and it was just
that changed about 7 or 8 years ago,
Right.
Oliver, if I remember, because then Facebook started saying, hey, if you want to reach even your fans, so if we had 1 million fans back in the day, we could just post and the 1 million fans would all engage. Now Facebook would be saying, you know what, we'll release 5% of the fans,
right,
pay to release the other 95%, or as you pay, we'll release more and more. So basically holding your fans hostage unless you pay to access your fans.
right. And that kind of happened, overnight. And
We really did.
We were like, at this time I was still a chef, but I was still finding ways to make money through CPA marketing. But the trouble is with marketing and online marketing that it's very secretive. Like no one wants to share their methods. No one wants to share where their traffic sources are happening. And quite a lot of it back then was sort of grey hat, black hat stuff. So no one was willing to discuss. So I thought what I want to do is I'm going to set up another forum because I've built forums before. Like that's what I'm good at. I can build communities. So I then put a bit more money into building another forum whilst I was still full-time chefing, which circled around cost per action marketing. And that was called CPA Fix back in the day. And again, I think that's probably where me and Kevin met because Kevin had an affiliate network. I had a CPA forum which kind of spoke about CPA marketing, and you could also advertise your CPA network on there. But I never ever built this forum to be a moneymaker. It was literally just meant to be a small place for me and my close friends online to discuss CPA marketing. But one day I got hit up by someone and they said, we'll pay to put our banner on your site. And I was like, oh shit, like I can make money from this? I didn't know I could make money from a forum. Like this is crazy. So I obviously accepted, took the money, and kind of one of those things where, you're told to just say yes and then kind of work it out a bit further along. I just kept saying yes to people. Yes, you can pay me to put your banner up. Yes, you can join the forum. And it literally spiraled from there and grew into what is now the largest affiliate community online. Which is, we actually sold the company a couple of years ago, but that was where I met my co-founder now, Andy, who funny enough only lives 30 minutes around the corner, but I didn't know him. I met him on my forum. And we're now co-founders of the Landing Page Guys, which we've had for 7 years. So yeah, it's a funny old world.
That's awesome. Yeah. Can you explain a little bit about the Landing Page Guys, Oliver, what you do, the service you provide? Because I think that definitely bridges a gap with somebody that wants to be involved in marketing.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of the questions I'll get from people getting involved is, oh, I've got this great product. How do I sell it? I need to make a landing page. And they don't understand the intricacies of, it's not any landing page. It's making a landing page that actually converts, right? It's
Absolutely.
making a page that engages a user, and that expertise. It's almost like, getting a half-price lawyer or getting a big dog Benedict Kelly. Like you pay for the quality, but you also get the results that you desire. Because I've seen a lot of campaigns fail because the landing page failed. The value proposition was there.
Right.
The offer was great, but the landing page sucked. It didn't deliver the proper message, and
unfortunately, it's often the piece of the puzzle that people forget about. So you're absolutely right, and you would see that on the network side of things, of course.
Absolutely.
So
the first thing that I'll do, right, Oliver? The first thing I'll do is I'll review the landing pages. I don't care what the CPA payout is. I don't care what the terms are. I'll look at the landing page and say, would I buy this? Would I engage with this? If the answer is no, my response is go get all this fixed before we're leaving entertain
Yeah,
it.
that's music to my ears. Yeah, basically, landing page guys is we always say it. So there's probably I would guess millions of web design agencies out there. There's millions,
Yeah.
and you can go and use any web design agency out there, and they will make you a landing page that looks nice. So if we're looking at it right now, it looks great. It advertises your product. It probably functions, but there's a huge difference between looking nice and converting, and that is what we are experts in. It's one of our strap lines, but we say like web design is an art form, landing page design is a science, and there's a science behind how you build high converting landing pages. And if we've got time, I'd love to share some of those tips with you and give some real value to your users. But yeah, what we do here at Landing Page Guys is we focus on those conversion principles, because we deal with paid media clients, people who are spending a lot of money, normally upwards of 10K a day on paid traffic. So every single click counts, and that conversion rate is so important. It can be, like you said, Kevin, it's the difference between losing money, breaking even, and actually scaling to being a really profitable campaign.
For sure. And one more thing I'll interject, Oliver, doing this for so long and working with so many different design teams, what I found with many, if they don't understand marketing as a designer themselves, you have to write everything for them anyway and do all the steps. So you're literally just basically, they're just putting it all together for you. That there's not, so that's where I believe your service differentiates from that, because you're employing the marketing tactics that inside those pages, right?
We literally
that's the key.
We have what's called our internal blueprint here, and it's a list of conversion principles. And of course, some are way more important than others, and I'd like to go into detail on what those are quickly. But yeah, everything has to be ticked off that list before we deliver a page to a client, because we can get you at the best possible starting point. Of course, there's things that come into it like future split testing, multivariate testing, and kind of growing from when you get that base point. But that baseline is so important, because it's literally like black and white. That's the difference between being profitable and not profitable, and it's often the piece. Everyone's always obsessed with like traffic and scaling their campaigns, but they often forget about that final piece, which is the piece that's most important, because that's where people are landing, right?
And it looks like you've got some of those tips on your wall right behind you as well. Is that part of what you're talking about?
These are just some of our things that we offer here at Landing Page Guys. But yeah, to go into the tips, can I share some tips with you guys? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, please do. This is great. This is
show us your tips.
Inside.
Means the same thing in the UK as well.
a little inside baseball here, so go for it, man.
Nice. So yeah, we like to share these kind of tips where anyone can action these, like literally anyone. If you're listening to this and or watching this and you have a website, a landing page, a funnel, a store, advertorial, pre-sale, it doesn't matter if you're doing lead generation, e-com, all of these principles basically can be adapted on any type of landing page, and it will up your conversion rate. So when it comes to paid media, one of the most important things, I'm going to run through 5 really quickly, and then if anyone wants to ask any questions or come through, with any suggestions, that's great. Number 1 is load speed. So load speed is super, super important. When it comes to your website's loading, it needs to load super quick when you're doing paid media. How do you test this? Just go to tools.pingdom.com or have a look on GT Metrics, or you can Google Page Insights and look at your mobile stuff on that as well. But for every 1 second decrease in load time, you're going to see like between a 3 and 5% increase in conversion rate. So what that means is for every second your landing page is loading quicker, you're going to see a huge, huge uplift in conversion rate. So that's super, super important. Number 2, I'm not going to do it justice here, but if anyone wants to go and Google this, I would look into it. And that is making sure that your landing page or website structure follows the AIDA principle. So AIDA, breaking down, stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. Now, the quickest possible way I can explain this is, imagine I have an A4 piece of paper here, and this is your website page or your landing page broken down. If you break that into 4 equal sections, that's how you can break down the AIDA principle on your landing page. So number 1, attention. How do we get their attention? Well, we've already mentioned it, Kevin. That's with that value proposition. So that's normally done with like a headline, supporting headline. Normally bullet points is better than like a paragraph of text. It just converts better if it's hard hitting bullet points. A really strong call to action and some social proof. So having like a testimonial or something above the fold is crucial. The next fold, the next piece of that A4 piece of paper, the second section split into 4, is the next fold of your landing page or website. That's all about interest, piquing their interest. How do we do that? You have to make sure that your interest is benefit driven and not feature driven. So don't talk about the features of and we'll get into this in a minute, but don't talk about the features of your service or software or product or, lead gen, whatever it is. Talk about how it benefits the user instead. And that's what's going to make them interested in your product. Section number three is desire. How do we do that? Well, it's social proof. So it's testimonials, case studies, people using your product, people using your service. It's all that kind of good stuff that everyone wants to see. And then number four, it's action. So what is the clearest possible way that someone can get in touch with you, fill in your form, buy your product? Don't confuse the messaging. Don't have mixed call to actions. Just have one clear value proposition, one clear action. And that's honestly night and day. If you lay your pages out like that, they're going to convert way, 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 way better.
That's awesome.
Now, Oliver, sorry, John, I had a couple of questions.
Of course.
What's your feeling on amped pages? Because I'm hearing a lot of people talk about amped pages.
Yeah, AMP pages are good, but they are quite restricted. They still don't have like an extensive library whereby you can do lots of stuff that you can do on like a normal kind of static page. But for load time, they are good. We to be honest with you, like at the moment internally here at LPG, we're doing about 100 projects on average per month. I would say 2 of them per month are AMP pages. So it's still not as advanced as it should be. But the load times are obviously very, very, very
What
good.
would qualify for it to be an amped page as opposed to not? Because of 2 out of your 100, what makes those 2 different from the other 98?
Purely the client has requested it.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because we can get the similar load speeds either way.
Gotcha.
Just by optimizing, compressing things and posting videos outside of YouTube and doing that stuff. But yeah, we do them, but they are you're limited with like third-party plugins and stuff like that. So rarely do we do them. They haven't taken off nowhere near as much as I thought they would.
Gotcha. And then John, I see you're ready to talk. Hold on a second. I got one more. So part of me trying to do a deal on every show now, I have a proposition for you, Oliver.
Done.
How about I give you 3 of my landing pages that we're buying extensive traffic on? I'll pay you for the service. That's no problem. And then we'll review them in about 4 weeks' time on the show.
Perfect.
And share all my results as far as what they were before, what they are now, and let's share them with the viewers. And
absolutely perfect. Let's share a screen. Amazing.
Exactly. Yeah, you and I are on the same page. Perfect.
I love this.
Is that legal? Can I do that?
You can do that.
Thank you, Consigliere.
I love that. I haven't even got to point 3 and I've already made a sale. Amazing.
Look at that. See, I'm easy though.
Kevin,
That's why I say I'm
I
such a good marketer because I'm the biggest sucker, right? So I know exactly what's needed.
When I was coming on the show, I remember we I don't know if you still have it because I haven't been on your site in like the last couple of months, but do you still have the site we did for you?
We
on
do.
XY7, yeah.
XY7 Elite. Yep, that's your page. Yeah.
Amazing, cool. I remember that page. It's a nice page.
No, it's a beautiful. Well, it's of course a nice page. You made it.
Exactly, my man. Thank you, guys. My work is done. I've made a sale. I'm good.
He's done.
Let me get to point 3. So point 3 is point 3 is all about social proof. So we live in a world. We live in a very weird world at the moment, but we live in a world where everyone wants to see a review of a product, of a service, of a software.
Yes.
We don't want to give them any excuse to click away from the page to go and get that review. Like, I'll give you an example. If we're going out tonight for a meal, not that we can, but if we were allowed to go out, we're not allowed in the UK, for a meal, and there's 10 restaurants, we're going to go on our phone and we're going to be Googling reviews about those restaurants. We're going to see which one's been rated the best, and we're going to take our time and go and pick it. You don't want to give anyone an excuse to leave your page. So if you haven't got a simple testimonial above the fold on any of your pages, your websites, I don't care what we're talking about, anywhere where you have a presence online, you're losing money. Like, it's going to convert better if you put an authentic review and testimonial above the fold. You want
so even like those social proof ones, right? That say, John F just bought, a 24 pack of Depends.
That's a different sort of social proof. I would still have a review. I would still have like a physical.
You'd have a static review, but you'd also have, as people are ordering,
those social proof apps are good, but they do slow down your load speed.
They do.
So you have to be careful which one.
So then it's a trade-off. Sure.
I would always go as raw as possible, like as in just strip back all your plugins, strip back all your add-ins. Like,
interesting.
Load speed is so crucial when you get to high paid traffic and high. So yeah, I would focus on that. But it's so easy. Like, anyone could put a paragraph of text with a little name and an authentic picture of someone above the fold on their landing page or website. and it will convert more. So social proof is crucial. The fourth one is trust proof. We call it trust proof. Basically, you want to get some trust across on that page. So again, above the fold, when we talk about trust, it's all things like seals. So like if you're approved, if you've been featured on a certain publication, right. If this is a great one for ecom, by the way, if you're doing ecom or you're selling a product and you have call to action buttons, just placing the payment seals underneath that button is really going to increase trust. And what I mean by that is we've all seen it, like the MasterCard, Amex, Visa, right. Those tiny little logos of those companies just below your call to action buttons are really, really going to help increase trust. Because what happens is people come on your page and they associate trust with these big brands, and they think if these big brands are working with you, then they can trust you a little bit more. And I know we don't consciously think like that when we land on a website, but subconsciously that's what happens. And when you have all these little conversion points and points on your pages, this is what's going to up your conversion rates.
Yeah, that brings me to a legal question, Bennett, as I was thinking through this. So one tactic that we use, and either you're about to frown or you're going to smile, I'm not sure, but luckily we have video, is if we're buying paid media, let's say on Fox News, then we'll put on our page as seen on Fox News. Is that legal? Is that gray line? What would you call that? I mean, again, for the trust factor.
You're saying this product was shown on Fox News, and that's proper.
Okay, good.
Hey, you live another day, Kevin. Great.
Well, no, I mean, it's actually a great tactic, right, Oliver?
Yeah, 100%.
You can buy one impression on Fox News and one impression on CNN.
A lot of products get busted because they see as see-nons and they name all these shows and they were on none of them.
Yeah, but I'm not saying shows. I'm saying if we're doing it on the .com, so we're buying a banner on FoxNews.com, we're buying a banner on CNN.com. So again, I'm not talking about using Dr. Oz or Oprah. I'm saying
you weren't on the show itself.
We're not on the show, no, but we're buying inventory on their website.
We should talk about this offline.
Okay. All right.
On that note, guys, I'll go into tip number 5, if I may.
Okay. Let's just sweep that one under the carpet and keep going. All right.
Tip 5 is, we touched on it briefly. When it comes to content, you want to talk about benefits over features. Now, this is like probably the hardest thing for a product owner to do, because I'm a product owner. Well, I own my own agency, my own service. Kevin, you own a network. You guys all own your own businesses. The easiest thing for us to do when we're talking about our business is to go feature heavy. What is better about our business than the next person? Like, we always talk about the shiny objects. And that's the worst thing you can do on your sales pages or landing pages, because every time you want to lead with a benefit. Just remember that features tell, benefits sell. Now, what I mean by this is I always kind of flip it to Apple. Okay, so Apple did this perfect example, and this is such a cool thing. If people are on the podcast, hopefully I'll explain it, but if you can see the video, it's going to make much more sense. So there's two adverts, so identical banner ads, okay? And they're both holding phones. So they're both a picture of someone holding a phone. It's just a hand holding an iPhone, okay? Exactly the same picture on banner A as on banner B. Now, banner A has a headline up the top, and it says, the all new super mega zoom 12 megapixel camera. So it's like very, very like shiny object, feature heavy. Banner B is the exact same image of the person holding the phone, but the headline says, take pictures of your family that will last forever. And that's a benefit of the phone, of the camera. Sure. And that's going to convert 3 times more than the feature heavy content. So when it comes to your landing page and your website, I challenge anyone listening to this to just look at your page now and just try and flip any statements you make on your page from a feature statement to a benefit statement, and your conversion rates are going to go through the roof.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that great information. That really was good. Good questions as well, and it kind of gives us a chance to think about that. And Kevin, that's a great idea about looking at those pages and then coming back and
we'll do a live review. But in the meantime, Oliver, how can somebody reach you? If they landingpageguys.com, but also your email, any other contact information.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thanks, guys. Yeah, so landingpageguys.com. My email is oliver@landingpageguys.com. Or if you just want to kind of join a group free group where we chat about conversion rates and get a few more of these tips, just go to landingpagelab.com and it will redirect you to our Facebook group.
Nice.
Excellent. Well, thank you again so much for being on the guest. Stick around. We're going to come back to you with some closing thoughts and good information. We're going to take it upstairs to the big dog right now and talk a little bit about what's going on. Please give a warm Internet Traffic Kings welcome to Bennett Kelly.
Thank you, John. The new thing that's going on right now is there's a battle in California over who is and who is not an employee versus an independent contractor. Now, a couple of years ago, there was a state Supreme Court case that decided what the standard should be. And last year, the state passed a law basically adopting that standard, and over the very strong resistance of the gig economy companies, Uber, Lyft, Postmates, and they have refused to comply with the new law. Basically, under the new law, their drivers would be considered employees. Basically, a lot of people who were classified as independent contractors now would be considered employees. So you may want to take a look at how you're classifying people. And so Uber has refused to comply. They've also filed a federal lawsuit challenging the law. And Uber and Lyft and another company have funded a ballot initiative to put it on the ballot, an amendment that would exempt them in November. Well, today, I mean, this week, the California Attorney General has come back and filed an enforcement action against Uber and Lyft to find that they're violating the law and to require that they pay their the drivers as employees, pay back taxes, and as well as a $2,500 per violation fine, which could be quite substantial.
Wow. What I always understood, though, my interpretation of the law, and I don't know if it's changed, Bennett, was that if you hire an independent contractor, they have to have at least 2 other sources of income to make it a legal interaction or a legal agreement. Is that the case? Not the case?
No, I mean, the test is a 3-pronged test as I pull out my earpiece. But basically, it's do you control them? You know, are they free from control? Does the person perform work that's outside your usual course of business? And is that the person engaged in a trade that is traditionally considered an independent contractor? And so it really has narrowed the scope of what was and was not an independent contractor, and which has been a big issue in the tech sector because there are a lot of times, you know, in order to save money, they have misclassified people. And so I think obviously Lyft and Uber are thumbing the nose at the state. So they're a ripe target for enforcement, but look for the state to start looking at other enforcement targets in the future.
Interesting. Great info.
As
we have information on this on our blog as well.
What's your blog, Bennett?
It's ILC Cyber Report, and the ILC is abbreviation for Internet Law Center.
InternetLawCenter.net and ILC
Cyberreport.com.
Got it.
Very quickly, Bennett, we're starting to see things changing now week to week. It looks like more people are trying to open up their businesses, and they don't realize some of those pitfalls that take place. And there's certain rules and guidelines that have to be followed to keep people compliant, along with the safetiness. What are you seeing is taking place in some of those rules and regulations? And is there a need to adjudicate anything?
Well, I think you have to figure out, you know, what applies in your state. That's the problem we don't have one single state. And you know, I get a kick out of, what is it? Is it Georgia or Texas? You know, bowling is now allowed.
Right. Yeah.
You know, okay, so you're going to put your hands in a shared ball. You're going to wear a shared suit, you know, shared shoes.
Yeah.
And sit at a surface that a lot of people have sat at. I mean, just that makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
But hey, go by all means, please bowl.
You know, I think that there's a lot of things that we're really kind of testing the waters here and really finding out that, hey, it was a broad brush in the very beginning. Now we're taking out that little small brush, and we're kind of painting it how it's going to work for people, and do it a little bit smarter. We're definitely seeing that here in Las Vegas, where the gaming board is making up the rules for the casinos, and we're limiting a lot of things. But it's like, hey, most of Nevada is rural. It's
Right.
you could almost open up anything and everything other than the Strip in Las Vegas, and kind of get people back to work. Now, it doesn't mean people are going to come to Vegas, but at least people here.
And the Strip is regulated separately, right, from the city of Las Vegas. It's got its own regulatory body.
Paradise.
Paradise, correct. Paradise, Nevada.
And the
but also,
you
John,
know, you were in paradise when you were there.
Yeah, I know. Every time I tag on Facebook, it says you're in paradise. But John, the as far as the jobs getting back to normal, I would probably say, I don't know, 60-70% of jobs are in casinos. And keep in mind, 50% of all stats are made up on the spot, like this one just was. But
and then 25% of them are refuted.
That's true. Or adjudicated.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, anyway, we got some great stuff coming up before we close out. We're going to get some final thoughts from everybody that's been with us here so far in this this segment that we basically call Things You Should Know and Things That You Need to Know. And the whole week has taken place, Kevin.
Yeah.
So did you find out some more things that we should to know and things we need to know? Don't pass go stuff without this information.
Yeah, no, my message this week is just be kind to one another. Be kind, reach out. There's a lot of people I haven't spoken to in 10, 15 years. And I'm reconnecting just because it's a really good time that you can't physically be with somebody to at least connect with them. And, whether it's a phone call, because you never know if that person needs to talk to somebody. Most of us are fortunate. We have other people in our lives. We have other things. A lot of these people are just by themselves and they don't have anybody. I read a story of this college girl in New York that was putting Post-it notes on her window, and an elderly couple from across the street was putting Post-it notes to exchange and having this whole relationship. But I mean, that's the reality of it. I'm very fortunate where I've got this huge backyard and I overlook the ocean, but a lot of people, are stuck in a very small apartment and, by themselves. And what do you do? And if you lost your job on top of that, so it's that time where you can reach out, be a friend, and offer some advice, or at least just be there to be that listening ear. So that would be my advice. Just, be kind to people and reach out.
Like putting chocolates on a ledge with a Post-it note. Well,
yeah, that's it, John. That's it.
And moving on as well.
I don't know.
Does the note say there's more down below?
Oh, so Bennett, when we had our Vegas office, where we had that big space in Vegas, and it was all picturesque windows. John gets this great idea. A client sent us candies. He put them outside my office window and put a sign free. And he stood there smiling at people, pointing to the sign, waiting to see if somebody would take this chocolate off a windowsill. And yeah, we had takers.
Oh, good.
That was it. So, hey, just another form of marketing. But anyway, so hey, what should we know and what do we need to know? Information from Oliver Kenyon.
You need to know that you need to optimize your landing pages and websites. That's a definite. I can kind of echo more what Kevin said, though. Like, now's a great time to reach out to people. And yeah, just kind of offer a favor and do what you can do to help people. And I also just want to say, like, I think I feel super grateful in a time like this that, like, we can still work and we can still employ people and still pay people's wages and keep them in a job. And that's our main focus right now, is just to keep everyone who we employ happy and keep scaling this amazing culture and business. And I just feel super lucky and super fortunate to be working with like-minded people like yourselves and just working online. It's a great place to be at.
And Big Dog, what we should and what we need.
I guess one thing you should look out for is Amazon is really coming under scrutiny for a couple of reasons. One is there's a report that came out that they were monitoring data of their people selling on its platform to decide when they should open their own white label product to compete. And that's causing an antitrust scrutiny, and that they're being called to testify before Congress. At the same time, they're coming under scrutiny for their warehouse practices. And as there's been COVID outbreaks there. And in fact, they've even had at least one fatality. And on top of that, they've been firing people who have been speaking out about this, causing one vice president to resign, saying this is chicken shit. So it's an interesting time. And Amazon is a major player, and there are some people have some concerns that it may have too much power. And really it's going to be undergoing an antitrust scrutiny. So being in the spotlight isn't necessarily the best thing for Amazon.
Yeah, well, John, to further your point, and Oliver, you're probably aware of this because most marketers are aware that Amazon competes. Right. I mean, any essential product, they basically, but you know, they launch their own. But to be fair, so do the supermarkets, Bennett. So you know, I don't know about in the UK, Oliver, but in the US, the supermarkets have their own brand, and their own brand is what sells the most, right? The paper towel, toilet paper, laundry detergent. So.
No different here in the UK.
But I think, Bennett, you're saying they're using the data from their algorithm to say, hey, this is selling great, let's compete against it. Yeah, that's not right, but you know.
And and also part of the problem is they testified before Congress that we didn't necessarily do that. What they said was we use aggregate data. But what's leaked out is actually, no, they use individual data.
Yeah, it's aggregate data. Let's see on an aggregate what sells the most. That's even better.
The most powerful spy tool online, right?
That's even better, right? Let's aggregate, you know, how much hand sanitizer we can sell. Hold on. That's great. Yeah.
And also there have been some concerns. I mean, for example, what if there was a major outbreak? Luckily there hasn't, but what if there was a major outbreak at several Amazon warehouses? How would that impact the flow of commerce in the U.S. since we're so dependent on Amazon?
Not even the flow of commerce, but you know, there's so many different reports that the COVID virus will stay on a box for 12 hours. I heard 24 hours. I heard 72 hours. So if there was an outbreak, a lot of the packages that are shipped may then infect the UPS driver and you know, and affect the consumer. So I mean, that would be a concern as well.
Well, good, guys. Excellent show. Good information. I want to thank Oliver for being with us. We'd love to have you come back. Looking forward to that test as well. Reminding our audience that this is a non-ad supported show. You can support us by going to Internet Traffic Kings and also give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. That's going to help us out. Lots of great, valuable information just given to you for free because, as Kevin said, just show a little love out there. Be kind to somebody, and that's kind of what we're doing. Broadcasting from the campus of UNLV right here in Las Vegas. I'm the Big Fabu, John Fondy. We've got another bunch of shows coming up here. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Give us your comments, give us your feedback, and we'll see you again next time right here on Internet Traffic Kings. Have a good week.